We talked about the first two cardinal points of the compass. The first, personal accountability. What you do to market yourself as the brand is the only North Star that you can rely on in your career. Once you understand that, once you apply the lessons learned in the Compass solution, your chances of survival increase exponentially. We also talked about the second cardinal point, and that's people. The ability to work with others, to be a part of a team that sometimes you may not always like all the players that you play with, but your ability to operate, especially in the corporate world, is going to be dependent on how well you can play with others. People is a big, big part of the Compass solution. The third cardinal point, and I think about it now as part of the Moab experience, is the simple fact that there's one other factor that is critical for most of us. I call it process. Process simply means once you understand what your responsibilities are in terms of personal accountability, once you understand what's involved in terms of the people aspect, the third cardinal point is process. And process simply means the way your organization really works. How are decisions made? What are the political nuances? When I began in my corporate career, I simply thought that being apolitical was going to be fine. But the reality is, if you don't understand how your company really works, how you can navigate within that decision-making process, unless you understand who the real decision makers are, chances are probably good that you're going to struggle. I know I sure did for a long time. I'll give you an analogy that I think is very, very powerful here. On the Moab Crucible, we talk about what your role is. We talk about the team that you're a part of. And process, for lack of a better term, that's the mountain. That's all the twists and turns, all the ravines, all the ledges, all the peaks that you have to climb. But if you understand that, your role, the team's role in the mountain, which is the company, how the company truly works, process, your chances of survival increase tremendously. In the book, The Compass Solution, I offer a lot of different examples of what that really means. One of the chapters, for instance, is the meeting maze. Now, people hear the meeting maze, but I always think of a quote that I was reminded of recently when I was writing an article that says, you know, if you want to get something done, sometimes the worst thing to do is to have a meeting. No, that's not always the case, we know that, but sometimes meetings compromise your effectiveness in your business career. The section that supports this particular cardinal point, process, is all about practical tips that you can apply almost immediately that will help you navigate the process and how decisions are made in your organization and how you can find a way to be more successful there. In another lesson, we'll talk a little bit more about the fourth cardinal point, which some would say might be the most important of all.